Hi, everyone, and welcome to the asynchronous session titled Nearpod What? My name is Rocio Martinez-Apolinar, and I am an elementary academic technology coach. So, I am going to go ahead and skip this. This was my chat partner, and you'll probably see her in the next part of this video. So there's a few things that we're going to need for today, for today's asynchronous learning. One is if you do have another device with you, I'm going to ask that you join my Nearpod session so that you can do the activities as if you were a student. Okay. Again, if you have another device, go ahead and take that out right now. All right, if you do not have another device with you, what you can do is, let me go ahead and bring up this screen, is you can open up another tab. And again, you're going to see this on the Nearpod student paced session that you are going to log into in a few minutes. So if, again, you do not have another device and you are working on only your laptop per se or your desktop, then what you can do is you can open up a second tab. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to join.nearpod.com. Again, that is join.nearpod.com. All right, and we are ready to begin our session. So remember, this is the asynchronous session. So here I am in my Nearpod platform. And what we are going to do, or what I'm going to have you do actually, is I am going to lead a student paced lesson. So let me go ahead and click on student paced. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a new student paced lesson. So this gives you 30 days. So this is going to be good up until Friday, April the 30th, which is about when we will be cutting off our asynchronous sessions. So, your job right now, again, if you have another device, go ahead and log into. Um, Let me go ahead and do this right here. So you are going to join with this code at join.nearpod.com. Okay. If you have the app, you can go ahead and go through the app. But if you're on a web browser, again, join.nearpod.com. And again, feel free to pause throughout this session. The code you are going to enter will be Q7RX9. Again, Q7RX9. And again, pause as needed. All right, and you will be doing this session at your own pace. So again, feel free to pause at any point. Now, you will be watching my video throughout, so you are going to watch my synchronous session. And the reason that I left it this way is so that you can see on my screen um, the way my participants who were performing as students, you'll be able to see that teacher view and you'll be able to get an idea of how, when a student interacts with the lesson in a collaborate board, in a poll, or the matching activity or the draw it, you'll be able to see what that would look like on the teacher end, should you choose to use Nearpod live. Um, Although you are going to experience the Nearpod session um, as student paced. So the way you're going to be using it is the way that I would be using Nearpod in a station, or maybe if the student was absent That's the way that you could use student paced. The way that I'm doing it in the rest of of today's session would be synchronous, and so you could do that either live in a virtual setting or in a concurrent setting. So let's go ahead and get started, and let's go over our norms and begin our session. You've done the evaluation. I'm so glad I said that because last time I forgot to record. So, moving along, here is our NISD mission and vision. So, again, our mission is to transform the learning for students. Our vision is that every day, every student grows in confidence, curiosity, and capability. All right, so we get to our first activity. So, um, on this slide, again, you're going to see throughout the lesson that even though my presentation is on Nearpod, I am modeling for you some of the activities that you as a teacher can use with your students. Okay, so go ahead and introduce yourself. You'll see at the bottom where it says share your thoughts and or images here. So go ahead and just use a sticky note and tell us what campus you teach at, what grade, and if you want, you can go ahead and um, share anything else about yourself that you would like to share with the group. So I'll give you about 2 minutes to do that, and you'll see that they'll begin populating here. Thank you, Yvonne. Awesome. We've got Driggers in the house. We've got Mora, we've got Jones, and John Jay. Nice. Melissa, you're at one of my campuses at Scarborough. Laura Sheffield. I recognize some of the names from when I pulled up the report. Richard, Jacqueline, Kathy. I teach at Carnahan. Maria, you're at Cody, Peña. Awesome. And so as you see this populating, doesn't it kind of remind you of Padlet? Except this is pretty much in real time embedded within your lesson. And it doesn't take long to create these, okay, which is really neat. And so again, you can use this as kind of like your KWL at the beginning of a lesson. You can ask the kids what they know about a certain subject, what they know about a topic, or if you just want them to tell us how they're feeling that morning, that kind of thing. Oh, we've got Brandeis. My son is a senior at Brandeis. So hi, Judy. Loretta. Awesome. So again, like I said, Nearpod is something that is used in all grade levels. I've seen it as young as kinder, um, all the way up into high school. All right. So thank you guys for sharing. I'm going to go ahead and move along. And again, engagement is at the core of learning. So we did a book study called the Distance Learning Playbook, and there's a lot of talk of Hattie's effect size. So if you don't know more or you don't know enough about Hattie and what best practices have an impact in student learning, you should look up John Hattie. So this is the effect size, and I think Yvonne is holding it up. So this is what Hattie refers to as the barometer of influence. And so if you look at the screen and you see this 0.4 right here, anything at 0.4 or above are our desired effects. So of course, engagement is one of the big ones, which is why today's focus with Nearpod is to engage our students. All right, and you're gonna see whether you've seen these or not, they have a place here in Northside. So these are our commitments to Tier 1 instruction. Again, these are just 3 commitments that have found to be effective if they're implemented in your teaching practice. So with Nearpod, again, this is really direct instruction. So the effect size of this is 0.60. So again, that's after that 0.4, saying that It is meaningful and chunked into small, understandable parts. And so you're going to see that throughout the Nearpod lesson. I am going to be chunking these bits of information so that you can learn. And then I'm going to have some type of interactive activity for you. Okay. So there's also a range of questioning practices and then your data-informed decision making. So let's say that you do a Nearpod lesson and then you get the data report at the end and you see that some students got it and some don't. You can pull that group aside and do maybe as either in-depth lesson or a reteach. All right, so next we have a another activity. We talked a little bit about engagement. So here, my question is, what does engagement look like to you? Now, I added a timer here. That was a 1-minute timer. So you do not need to write incomplete sentences, just add something quick. And I am going to hide student names. There we go, so that nobody feels shy about submitting their answers. So again, when you have these interactive activities, you can add a timer. That way, let's say that you're secondary and you've got, can't remember the time, 47 minutes with your kids. You can time it so that they don't spend, 5 minutes answering a question. Great, so I'm having some answers. So if you're looking at my screen, and you're doing the Nearpod on another device or on another tab, you can see that I did hide the student names. If I click on show student names, I can get them back, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just hide. All right, so we've got happy kids, all students actively participating. Great. Active participation and energy. Awesome. So, I mean, all of these answers again, if this were a shorter lesson for today, then I would definitely probably call on a few students to just maybe tell us a little bit more about what they said. Okay, and if you notice up here on my screen, it says participation. We're at 86%. That means 86% of your kids that logged in. Isn't that great? Because at least you know, hey, most of my kids are participating. As a classroom teacher, I might say, why are we not at 100%? Okay, and again, you can see who has not submitted the answers. So just keep that in mind. Moving along, so our learning goals for today, you have them right there. So we're going to look at what Nearpod is, how to log in, navigating that Nearpod homepage. We're going to look at, oh my goodness, I have a typo there. We're going to look at sharing lessons, how to launch them, and then how to access reports, and then finding help. And then what is Nearpod? So what is it? It's really a platform that allows you to make any lesson interactive, whether you're in the classroom or if you're virtual. Okay. So let's move along. All right, so now on your screen, you should see a poll. So how familiar are you with Nearpod? And I still have the student names not showing, but I just kind of want to have an idea how familiar you are with Nearpod. So maybe you've used it before, maybe it's completely brand new to you. All right, I'm going to give you a few minutes while I check the time. All right, Yvonne, are we good with questions?
Yes, so far so good. Just a little FYI, I did put it in the chat. That whiteboard feature is a free piece of Nearpod. So if
Oh, it
that's
is.
something, yeah, if that's something that teachers want to explore further, after this, I'm not sure if Lucy is covering that in her next session, but
Ooh.
it is part of the free feature of Nearpod. You don't have to have the paid subscription for that, so you can use it. I did look it up just to make sure and
Okay.
verify. So,
Awesome.
but I did
Thank
put it in
you.
the chat for those who
Oh,
were curious about it.
okay. Gosh, that is so cool. There's been new features that have been added, and so almost like with anything, they do like their little trial, which they call the beta, and then sometimes they leave it there for free. Sometimes they'll charge, and sometimes we're afraid to promote something, and then find out later, oh, never mind, that was a paid feature. And so for my session, I tried not to really focus on that one. So, all right. Now, thank you for looking that up, Yvonne. So how familiar are you with Nearpod? Whenever you add a poll question, you can also share the results. So I'm going to go ahead and share. And on your screen, it should have popped up. Okay, you should be able to see the results. And I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my student view because I'm not seeing what you're seeing, unless I joined as a student on another device. So give it a few seconds. It's going to change on my screen to student view. And here it is. So again, throughout the lesson, you can always change to student view, because if you're working with littles, they might get confused as to why what you're showing on your screen is not what they're seeing on their screen. That probably happens a lot. I know. I taught fourth grade, and even in fourth grade, they would be like, why does mine look different? Okay. Um, so here it is. 38% of us have heard of Nearpod and you have an account set up. Great. 33, I've used Nearpod. I have an account set up. And then Nearpod is brand new to me, 28%. Awesome. So for our 28%, there's going to be time today to log in. Okay, and you're also going to have this Nearpod lesson for you so that you can also go back and see some of the resources that I've added. Okay, some of the videos and slides that are like your kind of like your how-tos. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch back to teacher view so that I can keep on going. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's time for a game. So if any of you have ever gamified your instruction, kids love it. And that's the neat thing about Nearpod is that, let's say that you talked and you gave them content and whatnot. And then at the end, you're like, but hold on, there's more. We're going to play a little game. That's what we're doing today. So um, within Nearpod, it's called Time to Climb. So that's what we're going to do next is, let's see, give it a few seconds. Here we go. Time to Climb by Nearpod. So as the teacher, and this is in real time, I'm going to have you guys do, let's see, there's an underwater one. All you do as a teacher is click on what theme. So you can always change it up. You can have the Himalayas, you can have space. I'm going to try this new one, underwater. I'm going to click continue. And then for you, on your screen as a student, you're probably going to be asked what type of avatar you want. So I see some of you already picking your avatars or your player. All right, here we go. So it says waiting for players. So just a reminder, as a teacher, you have to click start right here. Okay. So let me give you guys a few more minutes. It's going to be a quick quiz, 3 questions. It'll be true and false. So again, you'll see what it does. You can make it true and false. You can make it multiple choice. So just keep that in mind. Awesome. I've got 14 of you ready to play. 15. Thank you guys for participating. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Here we go. And you should start seeing it on your screen. It's got some music in there. On my screen, I have the leaderboard. So right, let me show the student names. Maria Peña is in the lead with 1,000 points. Miss Jacqueline is coming in second place, Belinda in third. Maria Peña still in the lead. Miss Jacqueline, oh, we got Mr. Richard Ramos in third place now. All right, so we're on our last question. All right, so we do have our leaderboard. Maria in first place, Miss Guzman in second place, and in third place we have Laura. So congratulations. Just a quick, little game. Let me go ahead and move this. And so it's something, again, that you can do with your students just to gamify the instruction. And so I know that my kids always liked, you know, something that had to do with either Kahoot or Book It, which is kind of like Kahoot now, but just a little bit different. What I like about Nearpod is that I'm not going to different sites or different apps. It's all within Nearpod. So I can build in my lesson and have content and then have a poll and then have more content and then maybe a matching and then content and then I can gamify. Okay, so I don't have to just give them a boring quiz. I can just, I'm sorry, I can just give them some type of quiz that's in a game format. Okay, so again, my goal for today is for you to kind of leave and say, gosh, how is it that I've been teaching without Nearpod? Um, so let's take a look at what other content and activities we can add to our instruction. All right, so what you should be seeing now, and I purposely did this in a way where I'm giving you content and I'm showing you Nearpod, but I'm gonna give you different ways um, to learn the information. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna have slides, but I'm also going to include a video. Now, um, I see this a lot in secondary. Sometimes your kids, they're like, I don't wanna read, I just wanna watch a video. And then you see some kids where they prefer to read and learn about it. You see other kids where they need both. Okay, so what I have here for you is a Nearpod overview. So on your screen, you should be able to scroll through the slides. So I'm going to go ahead and give you, let's see, about 2 minutes to scroll through these slides. Um, this is just at your pace. So let me give you about 2 minutes to scroll through them. And then if you have any questions, let me know. So again, if you were teaching your class and you have a slideshow that maybe CNI had put out for you to show, you can embed it within your Nearpod lesson. So again, it doesn't mean that you leave it out, but again, you can embed it just like I embedded a slideshow for you here. That would be under content. And like I said, and then you can have like a follow-up activity to see if they understood it. So we are at 2 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and move along. So our next piece here is a video. So right here, it's a short video, less than 2 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and let you play that on your own. So again, I'll give you 2 minutes to play that. I won't play it on my screen, but you can play it on your device. We've got about another minute. All right, so as we are wrapping up, that was about 2 minutes. I did have a question here. Ms. Jacqueline, you were asking if on the quiz game you're able to put pictures. I can't remember if on that one we can. I want to say yes, because there was one activity that I tried and it made me a little upset that for that activity, they didn't allow you to add images. But you're gonna see later that on the matching one, it does allow you to add images. There was just one random one where I thought, why would Nearpod choose this one to not add? Um, so maybe when we're exploring, I'll go back and double check and give you an answer for that. And then, okay, Miss Maria, your question was answered. Yeah. Yes, so unfortunately, it's not embedded into Schoology, Nearpod. That would only be for the campuses that have the paid subscription. Okay. All right, so let's move along. I'm checking my time just to make sure that we go through everything. So again, practice makes progress. So you're going to find that with Nearpod, like I said, I could have just clicked on open whiteboard, but again, I don't want to show a feature that might not be available. You can push all the buttons. You're not going to break it. um, I remember my students, when I was teaching fourth grade, they would just press and press. And I think one of our instincts is to tell them, don't press it because you don't know what it's going to do. Well, you're not going to break it. The only way to figure something out is really to explore and find out and press buttons and see what it does. So don't be afraid to take risks. All right, moving along. So again, if you haven't done so, make sure that you open up a new tab because in a few minutes, actually in the next part of our presentation, we're going to get into the teacher sign in and exploring the platform. So you should have the Zoom um, screen with me presenting, you should have the Nearpod join. And now you're going to open up another tab so that you can join in to Nearpod or sign in if you haven't signed in for the first time and that kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and move along. All right, so if you have never logged into Nearpod, you can do so by going to nearpod.com. And when you see a screen that looks like mine, you're going to have either a teacher login or student. You can log in using your Gmail. So that's the neat thing. You don't have to recreate another email, another account, and then forget about your credentials. No, we can use our Northside Google account. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to give you again some resources so that you can sign in. All right, so here is a slideshow, and I want to say that it's probably about 2 slides. So go ahead and look through it. The directions are to go to www.nearpod.com, and then we want to sign in as a teacher or log in. Okay, so if you've never signed up for free, you can go ahead and sign up. Okay, while you are signing up or logging in, let's see, I have Maria. Can audio be added to questions? Yes, that is a yes. There's an audio function for that. All right, so as you are signing in, I'm going to go ahead and move along because now we have, like I said, I'm giving you as part of differentiating. You can either read through click sheets or you can watch the video. So if you've already signed in or not, or you need that extra, that additional help in the format of a video, I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to watch this video on how to log in or sign up. All right. Let's see. Let me check my time. All right. So hopefully everybody has been able to one open up another tab and sign on to your either create a new account or log in to Nearpod. So I do need a quick check on that. So um, we've got a poll. So again, did it work for you? Here what I'm doing is really just asking, in a new tab, log into Nearpod, which we already did. Did it work for you? Yes, you successfully logged in, or no, I'm having trouble. So again, this is really like a quick check for me as a presenter. If you're in the classroom, that could be a good quick check for you if you ask students to log into something while they were on Nearpod. Of course, my hope is that all of you have logged in. Okay, so again, I can choose to show student names or hide student names. I know that when we were doing one of these lessons in a fifth grade classroom, the teacher thought it was really nice. And of course, I was doing a model teach, um, but she was able to see, and she was the one managing, the students and asking, wait, how come so and so hasn't submitted their answer? So she would go over there and tap them, on the shoulder. You haven't submitted or whatnot. So it's really neat to see it in real time. It doesn't always mean that the student is being defiant. It might just be that one, they're having issues. We've seen so many connectivity issues, or it could be that they just don't understand. Or in that case, in that classroom, it was a bilingual classroom and she was a recent immigrant. And so she didn't have the language. All right, so moving along. So it seems that 72% have successfully logged in. Great. All right, so now we're going to get into the Nearpod homepage. So now that you're logged in, and I'm going to be switching back and forth between my screen, between my Nearpod lesson and my Nearpod platform. So now keep in mind, let me go back to mine. Mine does look a little bit different. So I have a school and district library. So just keep in mind that you're not going to have that. Some of this Nearpod content for ELs and whatnot, you might not see it either. Now, if you don't have any lessons yet, you've never used it, this might seem a little empty. If you look at mine, you see that I have, some lessons already built or lessons that I saved. So that's what we're going to be exploring today. Okay, so again, I'm in my lesson library pretty much. So let me go back to my session. All right. Okay, so what you're going to do is this slide right here tells you to navigate the Nearpod platform to find materials, create lessons, or start a quick launch and manage settings. So if you scroll through these slides, which you can do already, it's going to show you what some of these icons mean. Okay, so again, what's nice is that I am going to give you this Nearpod lesson so that you can go back and refer to these as you explore Nearpod a little bit more on your own time. Okay, so again, there's a few slides on there, about 4 slides that you can look through. Okay. Give you guys about another minute to look through those slides. All right, so moving along. Again, there's a video. So let me give you about 2 minutes to go ahead and watch that video on your own. So it's 9:17, so at 9:19, we'll move along. And again, this video is gonna be on Nearpod and the, oh gosh, someone's writing on my screen. I hope it played.
It played for me, Rocio.
Okay. I was seeing,
So we have
oh,
someone who's not able to play it. I know he wasn't able, we weren't able to
okay.
play it last time. Just make sure that your audio is on. Maybe unplug your headset if you have a headset on, or if you during like Bluetooth or something. I know sometimes that for some odd reason interferes with audio. There should be a play button, like mine had like a YouTube play icon in the middle of the screen, so play that, or at the bottom there should be a play button as well. I know when I did a Nearpod presentation that was an issue, and a teacher told me, yeah, unplug the headset and it works just fine. So
Oh, wow.
I don't know, we come up with different hacks all the time, and it could just be the way your device is working as well. I'm so sorry that that's happening.
All right, thank you for that. But yes, that's true for whatever reason. Sometimes even my audio or my settings change, and that can be throughout a lesson or a presentation, which is not fun. Um, all right, so let's see. So we've got the video now. Remember, if you haven't or if you were not able to watch it, remember I am going to give you this presentation and you're going to have it to go back. So it'll be a student-paced lesson. So you'll see that as a teacher, if I had students that were absent that day, and I did this as a live lesson, I can still take a student-paced link and drop that in Schoology or send it via email, and then the student or yourself, in this case, can watch it in your own time, on your own time, or participate on your own time, okay? Awesome. So let me move along. Now, the neat thing about Nearpod is that we do have, or it does include a Nearpod library. So today's session is not going over creating your own lesson, but it is about being able to find lessons and be able to launch them, share them, and whatnot, even edit them. So the Nearpod library, there are about 8,500 and more ready to launch lessons and videos in there. Okay. So again, I'm the type of person that sometimes if I have the time, then I can start off from scratch. Sometimes if CNI, sends us slideshows, then I can take that and then edit it to make my own lesson. And then sometimes I might just want to search and see if I find something that I'm ready to use. Okay. And I think as teachers, we all feel like that sometimes. It just depends on the time or, how much energy we have considering the time of year. Okay, so we do have that Nearpod library. And so again, these slides right here are, letting you know that these are pre-made lessons for every grade and subject and how you can search for them. So if you want to toggle back and forth, you'll see that you do have Nearpod library in your Nearpod content, and then you can begin searching lessons. So whether you're elementary or secondary, there's something for everyone. All right. So we are going to have some explore time. This is a video on finding lessons and videos in the Nearpod library. Um, so again, it is a quick video. Hopefully you can press play on it and it'll play for you. I'm going to give you about, I'm not sure how long this video was, but I'll give you about 2 minutes so that we can have time to explore the Nearpod library. And again, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, please. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move along. Now, there is a collaborate board here. However, we do have some explore time that I built into this. So I'm going to go ahead and set a timer for, let's say 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes, and your job is going to be to explore the Nearpod lesson library. Okay, so as you're exploring the Nearpod lesson library, um, your let's see, how can I call this? Your accountability is going to be for you to add to our board here and let us know, were you able to find and add a lesson? And then was there a lesson that really piqued your interest? Okay, so again, 5 minutes. It is 9:25. This is going to be your explore time. If you want to turn off your camera for those 5 minutes and just kind of go through that Nearpod library and find and add a lesson to your library, go ahead and do that. And then again, our accountability will be to share here on our collaborate board. Were you able to find and add a lesson, and then which lesson piqued your interest? Okay, so 5 minutes, it's 9:25, so at 9:30, we'll start up again. All right, so I'm seeing that some of us are already finding some lessons. So again, we've got about 2 more minutes. So as you are exploring that Nearpod lesson library, just let us know what you're finding and if there's anything that really piqued your interest. Okay, some of you are having trouble getting to, okay. Great. So we're finding stuff that we can use, mindfulness and counseling lessons. Awesome. I'm glad everybody's able to find something, whether you're elementary or secondary or whatever it is that you're teaching. Now, what I didn't let you know is that in the other collaborate boards that we were using, that I used, I'm sorry, at the beginning of the lesson, is that I did not approve. I actually, as you were posting your comments, I was just allowing you to post directly and I didn't have to approve. Okay. Now, as a teacher, again, even though we have the names and whatnot, and you would know if somebody put something silly or inappropriate, just know that you can control that just like I am right now. I can see what's going to go on the board before it goes on there. So I would have to approve. Um, and that is something that is done right then and there. You don't have to, whenever you run the lesson, you don't have to pre-approve. No, it's nothing in your settings. It's done in real time. It'll ask you that question, whether you want to approve or not. So I see many good things here. Some of you are having trouble. I'm so sorry. Again, I have hidden the student names. Let me go ahead and put that back on. The collaborate board. I know, yes. Okay, so Judy, hopefully you'll be able to explore in a little bit. There's going to be some other time that I'll allow you to do that. Miss Jacqueline, your mindfulness. Miss Maria says, I've already told my teammates how much we're going to love Nearpod. Yes, that's awesome. So I'm glad that you guys are able to see, okay, test prep bundle. I mean, there's something for everyone, which is good. So thank you guys for participating. Let me approve one more. Did not find lessons for pre-K. Um, Gosh, that's something that um, we might have to look into a little bit more. I'm more than sure that I've seen pre-K, but thank you for adding that. I'll have to explore that a little more because I want to say that there is. All right. All right, so moving along. Um, so now we all found a lesson that either we added to our library, we were interested in, that we're ready to use. That's really how simple it is to use Nearpod. So the neat thing is, um, we can share lessons anytime. So whether you want to use Nearpod synchronously, which I mentioned before, we can do that. If you have students coming into your class late, or you had students who did not show up to class or whatnot, you can take that Nearpod link as a student paste code and you can drop it in Schoology. Okay, so again, there's different ways to use this. Now, let's say that you're doing some type of blended learning in your classroom and you've got students that you're teaching here at your table, but then you've got the other kids that are working on online and offline stations. Then you can also have the students work on the Nearpod as a station. So there's different ways to use this. All right, so again, you've got the live and the student paste. Here's just a little content slide for you. So You can use this synchronously or asynchronous. All right, and here we have it. So if you have your Nearpod open up on another tab, your account, if you click on, here, let me go back to mine. So if you click on right here, if you hover over it, you're going to see those options to share. It's pretty easy. I mean, there's not much that, it's either, now I'm going to be honest, I haven't tried this, the live participation plus Zoom. I've never messed with that. Um, but I usually just use live participation and then student paste. And all it does is it's going to give you a link and the code. All right.
Hey, Rocio,
Yes.
for the live participation plus Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
the kids have to be on hard devices. So like
Oh.
we had that come up with one of my campuses. So it's a great feature to use because then they can do the toggling it doesn't happen like it's simplistic for the children, but they
Mm.
can't be like on iPads, and the teacher can't launch from the iPad either.
Oh, I
So
see.
it kind of I guess it kind of defeats the purpose. So the teacher would have to be at their teacher station, unless like you're carrying around your Chromebook or your laptop, which can kind of be a nuisance.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so if you've got a classroom where they've got multiple devices in the room, especially if you've got a classroom of littles where we know they've got majority of iPads, it does defeat the purpose. So just using that live participation or feature, just launching it is
Mm-hmm.
more than likely in your best interest. I don't see a lot of my teachers using live participation plus Zoom. I hope that they change that moving forward, but unfortunately they need a hard device.
All right. Well, thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I don't know that if I have different devices or my kids are bringing in their own device and they might have a tablet of some form, then I probably would just stay away from it to save myself frustration and trouble. Again, like I said, live participation and student paced are just as good. Live participation is what I'm using today. Okay. All right. So moving along. Again, we've got a video and you've seen me do this throughout where I've given you again content in reading visuals format, or I'm giving you content to learn it in video format. So let me just make sure we're good on time. And we are. So again, this is just a video on how to launch a live participation or student-based lesson in Nearpod. Okay. Give you guys about another minute just to, if you're playing the video or if you are still on the platform exploring that. Now, the neat thing about adding different types of content to differentiate instruction on Nearpod is that if you do the asynchronous, um, and you have students do the self-paced, you don't have to worry about giving them time on each video or on each slide, right? They're just going to go through the content as they need. If they prefer to read the slides and skip the video, that's going to be completely up to them. Okay. So when I send you the link for this lesson, which will be the asynchronous student paced, then if you need to go back and watch these videos, you're going to be able to do that. Okay. All right. So we're going to move along. All right, so we have a collaborate board. I am not going to approve student comments before they're posted. So this is kind of like your, quick check. So how likely are you to share lessons and videos with your students? Do you think, I'm sorry, how are you likely to share them? So in other words, do you think you're going to be using live? Do you think you're going to be using student paced or both? Or are you not sure yet? So go ahead and drop your answers. Now, some of you earlier asked about Pear Deck. So as you're dropping your answers, I think why I used to use Pear Deck was because Pear Deck had the student paste. And that was like my biggest thing because I thought, man, if I have so and so absent, then, and I did this live, then how am I supposed to, go back and reteach that lesson? And so that's why I liked Pear Deck because then I dropped that as student paste. But with Nearpod, I really like their features better. Um, and then now that they have the student paste, I don't even go back to Pear Deck. I just stick with Nearpod. It's just one of those things where you're like, instead of finding one or the other and choosing between, I like that it's all just in one. So some of you are saying both live. I think I will use live lessons. Okay, very likely and probably use both. Awesome. So some of you like it for the live lessons, but then add the student paste. All right, so that's great. Now, all of you are throwing in okay, I'm more comfortable with live. That's good. Again, start off with something small, right? Kimberly, so yes, right now you might just want to start off live and learn more about it. And it's okay if you make a mistake because we all do and the kids will, how many things have gone wrong already, right? When we're instructing whether we can connect or not, or whether something worked like we thought or not, that's okay. The goal is we tried it. Believe me, things go wrong when I present all the time. So now let me show you something really quickly. Remember we talked about this add activity? So I am gonna go ahead and just add a quick um, activity here, and you're going to see that it's going to go to your screen. So let's say that on the fly, as my kids are working, I thought of another question. You can for synchronous, and of course some of you might be, oh, can't spell. Synchronous. So I'm going to go ahead and share that out to you. Share. Oh, hello. I had to pick. And you're going to see that on the fly, you can add questions, okay, as needed. So give it a few seconds. All right. And gosh, you guys are quick. I guess it was my screen that was taking forever. So again, you can add questions on the fly. You can drop in a website, things like that, that maybe you forgot. I know it happens to me a lot when I'm showing teachers something and then I'm like, oh, I just remembered, and you can drop in that activity just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Yes, and that activity. Thank you guys for participating. And I said close. There we go. Yes. All right. Now let's move along. All right. So how do students join? They join just like you did. So again, they go to join.nearpod.com. But when you drop in the link in Schoology, that takes care of all of that for you. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You don't have to go to join.nearpod.com, which is that extra step. All right, so now what I did for you is another type of activity. Okay, and we're going to get into this next. So it's a little matching game. I gave you some images and some descriptions so that you can match. Okay, now on my screen, it tells me the matches and then the tries per student. I'm going to go ahead and hide the student names. Okay, so go ahead and work on the matching activity. And as you're working on that, think about how you can use this with your students. And so some of those things that I gave you to match are features, some of the features that are on Nearpod, because there's plenty more that I haven't even used. Okay. So go ahead and work on the matching game. Let's see, it's 9:44. Give you about 3 minutes. And in the matching, you'll see that I added images. So yes, you can add images and text, or you can do image and image, or you can do text and text. Okay, so all right. And I think I forgot to remind you, but at about 9:55, right before the session ends, I will be showing you that evaluation form so that you can receive credit for today's session. All right, 9:46, and we've got just about everybody trying this out. Okay, and there's a button up here that says view pairs. I'm going to go ahead and click on that so that you can see what the pairs are. Okay, so again, some of those are content features and some of them are activity features. So on Nearpod, you can add different types of content, either in websites, in video, as you've seen that I've done, or on a slide. Um, you can add a virtual field trip, um, things like that. So that would be your content. And then you've got activities. So you're going to have your open-ended questions, your matching game like we're doing right now, a collaborate board like we've been using, polls, multiple choice. You can add a quiz. You can add the gamified quiz, which we also tried. So again, different features for you to use to change up your lessons. All right, so moving along. So after you looked at some of these features, here is our next activity. Okay, I hadn't mentioned this, but we do have a draw it feature. So what Nearpod features will best support the learning goals for your students? So now you're gonna see a little pen or pencil icon with some colors. So what I did is I added the background image and I'm showing you some of the content and some of the activities. Go ahead and circle the ones that you think would be best to support learning in your classroom. What kinds of features would you use? And you've seen some of them, but not all of them. But again, you'll have time to explore this further on your own. And the neat thing is that as a teacher, let's say that I had a matching, here, maybe if it's the littles, maybe I have pictures and I have letters, and I might have my students match the picture with the beginning sound, or if it's secondary, maybe I want them to draw, I don't know, on a PDF that I submitted, or an image, I'm sorry, as the background, then you can definitely do that. And again, you see everybody's draw it pop up in real time. Some of these say in progress, and then I can see the others that already submitted it. Okay. So again, you have different types of features to differentiate instruction, and again, to make it more engaging for kids. So your Nearpod lessons don't always have to look the same. Change it up so that it's, not boring for kids, or so that they have something new to expect. Awesome. So we are almost close to the end. Some of you are still in progress. All right. So let's move along. All right, and then we get to the accessing student data. So what you've been seeing throughout on my screen is real time, right? We've been able to see the data for the polls. All of that is in real time, but there is post-session reports, okay? And that means that after the session ends, I'm able to pull up my data and reports to, one, look at participation, two, to look at multiple choice, formative assessment type, and give a grade, that kind of thing. Or if you just want to use it to see where students are at, whether they know, or whether they've mastered or they need a reteach, then, that's the kind of data that we can pull. So here are some slides also for you to look at teacher view and student view. Now, throughout our session, you have been looking at my screen, which is the teacher view, okay? As a student today, you were going through the session as your student view, okay? So here we have a few slides that show you what some of those activities look like for the teacher and what they look like for a student. So go ahead and go through those slides. Give you about 2 minutes to go through those slides. All right. So I'm just now looking at the comments. All right. So those are just your student and teacher views. Again, you'll be able to go back and reference these. Now, whoop, I think I skipped. No, there's also a video here. Um, let's move along. So again, right here, whoops, hold on. Not sure what I'm doing. Accessing, did I skip something? I think I did. All right, so accessing the data, I wanna say, I'm sorry, I'm moving back and forth through this. Yes, so accessing and downloading Nearpod reports. Let me go ahead and go back to my platform up here. Okay, so now on Nearpod, you should see a little tab right below where it says My Lessons. There's a Reports tab. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So on my Reports tab, notice that I have lessons. If I have launched a lesson at one point or another, it's going to appear here. Now I'm going to click on, let's see, this one right here. It's 5.7 review. Click on that one. And it gives me all the sessions that I've done this lesson with. So if you look at this session, which is when I actually did a code teach with a teacher, that has 26 students. If I click on it, it's going to bring up my data from that report. So these are your post-session data reports, okay? Now, the neat thing is that I can see if it was multiple choice, you're going to see a grade for that lesson or whatnot. Also, what you can do is you can download the data. So you can download it, and I think you can export it onto a sheet as well. So let me go ahead and get out of that. So that is where you would find your data reports. And then when we are wanting to find help, let me go back to Nearpod. If you keep scrolling all the way to the bottom, you're going to find this area that's called teacher resources. So if you have any questions or need any additional support, or you want to do some webinars, you can find all of that information here. Okay. Unfortunately we don't work for Nearpod. We do have a lot of the answers because sometimes we do go back and we find out by either exploring it or not. But we can definitely help you, or if you prefer to just go find out the information yourself, you can definitely go onto the resources and their FAQs. All right, so, here are some resources. Again, attending a live webinar. And all right, so we are getting to the end. So again, you can explore. Like I said, we're almost at the end, and we've had some time to explore, not as much as I would have liked. But if you have any questions, then you can go ahead and drop them in here. If there's anything that, maybe didn't make sense, you can drop your questions here and we can answer them. If you don't, then that's okay. You don't need to add any questions. The next slide will be your credit for today. So, gosh, it went by quick. At least for me, it felt like it went by real quick.
It did.
Um, and I hope that you guys were able to learn something. Now, the session was, could you explain again about students using a different device at home with Nearpod? Oh, that was only for this part right here. Let me see, let me show the student names because I can't see who's asking. Okay, so Julia, let's see. Okay, that is only for when you choose to do the live participation plus Zoom. That's the only time that happens. What happened with this that Yvonne mentioned is that if the kids are on an iPad, it doesn't work. It has to be like a Chromebook. So I don't use that. I only focus on these two at the bottom, the live participation and the student paste. And it doesn't matter what device they're on. Okay. So just keep that in mind. But thank you for asking that. No questions. Thank you. This was awesome. Yay. How would students access the lesson when you are on Zoom? Just posting the link. Yes, you could do that. You can post the link directly in Zoom, or if they're going through Schoology, then they can join if they need that accountability that they are virtual and are logging in through Zoom, then drop it in, I'm sorry, drop it in Schoology. But yeah, either way. Is there a way to add an entire bundle to my library? I believe so, because I know I've added a bundle unless that's a paid feature.
Just be careful about your storage limit. In your
Oh,
free
that's right.
account, you do have a storage limit of 100 megabytes versus the paid subscriptions do have extra storage or unlimited storage. The free accounts don't hold as much, so it may prevent you. So just watch your bundles. At that point, you may be prompted to delete some things. So just kind of be careful, be mindful of that piece. And I did write the Braining Camp question down, Rocio.
Okay.
We'll need to check into that because I didn't know the answer to that one. I did write it on a sticky, and I'm going to email me and you.
Okay.
I didn't know the answer to that one.
Awesome. Thank you. And then let's see, will Nearpod now show up in our apps? As in like.
Are you talking about Schoology? Is that what that, who said that?
Maybe. Let me go back and see.
Or unmute yourself if you said that. Because the short answer is, if you paid for a subscription, we only have a hand, like maybe less than 5 elementary campuses that have paid for it. Then they get prompted in Schoology and they have the drop down and it says Nearpod, and they can actually add their lesson into Schoology. If you don't have a school that paid for the subscription, then the answer is no. You'll have to copy and paste the link from Nearpod into Schoology, like Rocio was stating earlier. I hope that clarifies. I'm not sure.
All right. So thank you guys so much. I really respect your time. So here is the bit.ly for the session evaluation. So make sure you either use your phone